Now, San Antonio Living.
Welcome back to San Antonio Living. We're going to spend the next half hour talking about addiction and recovery. And we're very lucky to have here in San Antonio a treatment center called Soba Living. And there's an interesting connection and a very unique story about how this treatment facility got here. And joining us to talk a little bit more about that, actor Daniel Baldwin is here with us this morning. Very excited to see you. Thank you so much for coming. You know Alex Draghici and Greg Hannley, both with Soba Texas. It's good to see you guys as well.
Good to see you. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm blessed by the Lord every day.
I'll tell you what, we're blessed to have you guys all here, and I think it's such a great story to get out about how the three of you came together, and San Antonio won with a great movie that you shot here in San Antonio, and by also gaining a new treatment and recovery facility up in the Texas Hill Country. So let's start with you.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Well, born this facility, I think it was this show. I think it was this show.
Yeah.
So I sandbagged Greg because I had gone to rehab 9 times, and Greg had said to me as my mentor and my friend, and he said, "Well, what are you going to do different this time?" Mm-hmm. And I said, "Well, I'm going to read the book. I'm going to be more diligent." He goes, "No. What are you going to do different after 9 times of going to some of the best and most expensive places, and you just can't seem to get it?" And he said, "I'm going to give you a hint. Continued care." And I looked at him and I went, "Well, what do you?" He goes, "Look, some people call it sober living." He goes, "We don't do that. We have aftercare that has housing, because what we do is we are a family and we care about you and care for each other like a family." Now, I had never been in that situation. I had never done anything after I had gotten done with the rehab before. And so I said, I'm willing to do anything. And I went there and I gave them my trust blindly, because I knew that he was my friend and he was an honest and forthright man. And so that was hard for me to do. When you're somebody that's from my background as far as abuse issues and things, it's hard to take someone and give that away to them. And I did. And thank God, that I did. So anyway, how I sandbagged him was I turned around and I said, when we finished our first movie that brought me here through Alex, who is one of my production partners in film, I said, we're going to do this movie, The Wisdom's No Difference, and Greg is going to turn around and he's going to fund some stuff and donate some money, and we're going to help people get sober here in Texas. Of course, I never asked him permission to say any of that. And so we walk off camera and he looked at me and went, "What are we doing?" And I went, "I don't know yet, but we're going to do it." So I thought it was going to be like scholarship, a couple of $2,000 scholarships, whatever, get some people going and start some dialogue and everything. The next thing you know, he's buying, 20-acre ranches and refurbishing buildings, and the furniture trucks are not trucks, they're 18-wheelers with, to make the facility top-notch. And then in comes, the well-screened counselors that embrace this family concept. And and now I'm proud to say, I've been in films that have been nominated for 13 Academy Awards at once, but I've never done anything before that I can say it didn't matter about the money, it didn't matter about the accolades. We're actually saving human beings' lives because of a film.
It's a film that made a difference, and it's here in San Antonio this weekend at the San Antonio Film Festival. Both Alex and Greg involved with the film, and I do need to say congratulations, because the film is already picking up some awards. So although it's also helping, it's also an amazing film. We do have a clip, and it's a dark story, and it's about recovery. Lou Diamond Phillips, a friend of yours, asks you to do something, and you tell the rest. What happened from there?
Well, the character that I play did 25 years in prison for murder. He befriends Lou Diamond Phillips while he's in prison, and Lou asks him to do a favor for him, a personal favor on the outside. Lou's never getting out of prison, his character. And it has to do with a family member needing help and needing to get sober. And so I don't want to give too much of it away, but let's say that the character I play, Bob, has some very unorthodox ways. And he's a very unorthodox guy. This character was something that's nothing like who I am. He has a weird speech pattern, and he's very, nervous and twitches and doesn't make eye contact.
Well, you didn't take her to Soba. You took her to a cabin.
I didn't take her to Soba. But because we didn't have the scholarship program at the time, now we have that through Greg Hannley.
And that's kind of the beauty of this relationship. You wanted to give back. Greg wanted to give back. Alex wanted to give back. They started with an amount of money, and it grew into a facility. Greg, it's just amazing to me what one movie, what one connection was able to bring to San Antonio.
You never know. You never know why you're supposed to be somewhere doing something, and I'm happy to be here. The facility is full. We have people, and thank you for letting us come and talk about recovery with you, because it's a conversation that needs to be opened. And through this movie, which is the greatest recovery movie of all time, by the way, we ended up being able to help people in San Antonio and become part of this community.
I'll tell you, I know you've helped a lot of people. Alex, you've got people coming through the facility every day.
Every single day.
Every single day.
So from the last show this morning till now, we were taking phone calls.
I love it.
Intake
I love
calls,
to hear that.
So,
He had to walk off a show we were doing
this
To
morning,
take a call?
because he had an intake.
Well, you mentioned family. That's what these guys are all about. So coming up, we're going to continue to talk about Soba, because we definitely want to get the word out that there is someone who can help you here in San Antonio. And we're going to give you some more personal experiences about Soba. So here's the deal. Let me give you the phone number, Soba Texas. If you need to call them right now, they're all sitting here, but apparently they do take calls. So the phone number is 866-547-6451. You can look online at Soba Texas, and we've got more when we come back. Welcome back to San Antonio Living. This morning we're talking about recovery and addiction, and there's a place here in San Antonio that can help you. You know, actor Daniel Baldwin also joining us, and Greg Hannley, the CEO of Soba Texas. And we heard the story how Daniel and Greg got connected through a movie that is debuting at the San Antonio Film Festival. But I want to talk to Mickey, because this is the first chance that we're having to talk to someone who's gone through the Soba program, and you have a really unique story.
Yeah, well, thanks, Shelly, first of all,
Yes.
for having me on the show. And I went to 17 treatment centers, inpatient rehabs, and
I get this face. I go, 17, a lot. You said you've been through 9. I mean, this is a common thing.
Yeah.
People need to find the right program.
People used to call me a chronic relapser, and I don't really believe in that theory. Because I believe anyone can get sober, and if I can get sober, anyone really can get sober. And it started with Soba, and my life has just been awesome since I've been to Soba. I've been able to start a radio show which is about recovery, radiolifeboat.com, and Greg was my first. He was the first guest on the show, and there's an ongoing debate on who did a better show, Daniel or Greg. We're not really sure yet.
Let me please emphasize something. That I'm considerably older than Mickey, and thank God that he decided to get this. Unlike some of us who had to wait till they were 40-something years old before they got sober. But when I first started going, they didn't let you go 17 times. Or I'd be right up there neck and neck with them.
Yeah.
I mean, I was as screwed. And certainly somebody from Mickey's socioeconomic background could have afforded to go, to other places. Isn't it ironic that, and this is a great thing for you to tell everybody, we both shared a few places we went to. Some of the, at the time, supposed best places to go. The Hazleton facility that writes all the books for a long time for sobriety. Now, tell them your Hazleton story.
Yeah, well, the bottom line is that I don't think the 30-day model treatment center works, and it's why I believe in Soba so much. But my story is at 23 years old, I was in a treatment center. I was getting kicked out of the rehab for being bad in the rehab.
They want to take you?
Well, they wanted to transfer me into another treatment center because I needed to go ASAP. And they called up Hazleton, and my counselor calls me into the office at the time, and he says, Mickey, got some really bad news. Hazleton is not accepting your application. They say they can't help you.
Hazleton said they couldn't help him.
Wow.
Hazleton, after I went
That's a
through
true story.
once, then turned around and said the second time around they had a facility down in Florida, and they said, we don't think we can help you anymore. And it is not my first time knowing Greg. I went through his aftercare program and with housing involved that they supply for those who go through. But the point of it is would you take a child, and would you take, many of us who are going to watch this show and that are in this room right now are parents, would you take that child and teach them everything you can until they're 9 years old and go, good luck, have at it, you're going to have to get a job, you're going to have to take care? Of course you wouldn't. And that's what the continued and the aftercare program is. The reality of teaching all this new terminology, getting those toxins out of your body through the detox program that they have with doctors. I mean, this facility has everything under one roof. So they take you from your infancy and they walk you right until you're about to go to college and even after. No, you would not take a 9-year-old and throw them in the street. And these 30-day, Band-Aid on a bullet hole programs that they're doing are not successful. 3 in 100 kids will stay sober for a year after a 30-day program. The numbers don't lie.
Well, the 17th time for you worked, and it's because of the philosophy that Greg has about aftercare. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about that, the continued care that you can get at Soba. The number is there on your screen. Give them a call. Find out more about what they're doing here in Texas to beat addiction and help you with your recovery. We'll be right back. Welcome back to San Antonio Living. We're talking about recovery and addiction with some people who are very well known to you and sharing their stories, and I think that's so important. I'm so grateful that you guys are all here. Actor Daniel Baldwin, Greg Hannley over there, Alex Draghici, and Mickey is joining us. He's been through the Soba recovery program. It was his 17th try, and I'm happy to say that today, 18 months of sobriety.
You
right?
knew, yeah.
Yes, congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
Every day is a victory when you're, dealing with recovery from drugs and alcohol. Why did the 17th time work? Why did Soba work for you?
Well, for me, I was ready, but at the same token, Soba has a family environment to it, and that's a lot different than most treatment centers, that when you're done, you're done. And when the money stops coming, you're out. And Soba, to me, is still a family. I'm no longer a patient at Soba. I'm no longer in the facility or in the aftercare program, but I still belong to Soba, and I'm there at the alumni meetings. I've got friends. I sponsor guys. We shoot little movies together, and the guys that, stayed in that crew, they're all the worst ones. They were the worst ones, so you say. And Greg, they're all
sober.
All sober.
They were a rough crowd for
the
sure.
Skipbags crew, they're all sober.
It's interesting because, I've said this to Greg before. God never said he didn't want us to be successful. He just wants us to help each other. And if you attain success that way. And these two guys at the end of this couch are so modest all the time, and they won't tell you how far they've gone and to what length they'll go to. You got to hear about the vets program that he started. Please tell them about
Brett,
this.
well, we're working on it. I'll let Greg tell you.
No, don't be modest. Tell them this is another one of these things that he's doing because how many Army guys in here?
So here's what, as you know, we opened about 2 months, maybe a little bit more than 2 months ago at Soba, Texas, and we are at full capacity. So we're having to expand a little faster, but what we're noticing, a lot of phone calls we're getting here in San Antonio are a lot of military vets, guys with TRICARE, guys coming back from the war, and they have really bad PTSD. I mean, they don't even know how to go to the grocery store to show you the vast variety of what's going on. And so there's a program that Greg has been looking at. He just signed some paperwork on it.
Yeah, again, the modest thing. So what does he do?
He's not saying anything.
He's not going to say. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you the little bit that I know, and then throw back to Greg, because then once I open the door, he can't back out. And so what does he do?
We'll have another recovery center. You never know.
No, another. He doesn't get 10 beds. He buys a whole hotel, 200 beds, and he's out of his own pocket. Doesn't need to do it. Knows he's not going to make any money on it. He said, these guys really need our help. They're coming back and they're getting, and it's related to the war. He's going back to the root. This is the difference. He goes back to the root. They treat where the problem comes from as opposed to just the drug addiction. So the counseling, the level of counseling that they have in these places. So what's this guy's problem? Well, he was in the war. He saw people dying. He saw friends die. The stuff that he's going through is post-traumatic stress disorder, which has led to him using drugs. No, he doesn't get a trailer. He buys a 200-bedroom facility, and he's going to bring these guys in here in San Antonio that have such a big, huge military background in this town, and he's going to help them too. So now go ahead and...
That's really happening? That's amazing.
Yeah. We had originally, the first place that I looked at is a facility off of Bitters Road, and the realtor asked me if I was crying when we left. It was awful what was happening in there. And then we got to do all of this show and have some good success here. And then we saw this place on TV when they were kicking the people out. So I went and signed a lease on it, and it's 100 beds there, and there's 200 next to it that we're working with TRICARE to help the vets. And our realtor, we mentioned it to the realtor. I also bought another ranch next to Soba, Texas. But the realtor was in one of those trucks that blew up, and he was the only guy that survived. And I didn't know it. I asked him if his back was hurting, and he showed pictures of this truck and talked about his friends that had gotten blown up. And I just know that's what we're supposed to do. Help
The amount
guys.
of compassion on
Kids that
this
went
couch right now,
and-
it's amazing to me. It
and
floors me.
defended our country so we could be free are coming home to San Antonio, and they're killing themselves. They're committing suicide because we haven't helped them.
So we're going to help them.
All right. I want to
We're gonna
tell you
help
more
them.
about Soba, guys. The phone number is there on your screen. More care coming to San Antonio thanks to what you guys are doing here today. We'll be right back. Welcome back to San Antonio Living. The phone number is there on your screen to reach Soba Texas. Greg Hannley is the CEO. Alex Draghici is the director of intake. He's been very busy this hour. Mickey is joining us. He's been through the Soba facility, and of course, actor Daniel Baldwin.
And I'm looking for a co-host job.
I know. We're getting close here. I love it. I know, Mickey, you had something that you wanted to close with.
Well, you know, Shelley, I'm sitting here on this couch and I'm just feeling so grateful to be here, and I'm thinking about Soba and Soba living, and to me, that's exactly what Soba did for me. It gave me a life. I am living my life today. I'm sitting here on a TV show with you, Daniel, and Greg, and I'm living my life. And at the end of the day, the one thing that I always try to really tell people on just in general is being sober is cool. Mm-hmm. You know, it's cool to be sober.
Look at who's on my couch today. It's very cool, by the way.
Living the dream here.
It's really cool.
I do want to thank all of you for coming today. Thank you for sharing your story, your personal story. Just the amount of care and compassion, it's real. It is real. And what you guys are doing with the veterans, I'm so excited to explore that a little bit more. We'll do that, of course, in coming editions on San Antonio Living. The phone number, if you need help, is there on your screen. It's Soba Texas. Live the Soba life. Details there on your screen.